Okay, it is 6:34. I'm going to call this meeting of the Lawndale City Council to order. I'm going to ask the city clerk to give the roll call, please. Madam City Clerk.
Okay, good evening. Mayor Pro Tem Cuevas. Councilmember Suarez.
Here.
Councilmember Kearney. Councilmember Hoffman Gorman.
Here.
Mayor Pullen Miles.
Here.
Councilmember Suarez, Councilmember Hoffman Gorman, and Mayor Pullen Miles are present, with Mayor Pro Tem Cuevas and Councilmember Kearney absent.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. I'm going to ask Councilwoman Bernadette Suarez to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a word of inspiration by Eddie Vargas, the lead pastor for Restoration Life Church.
Please stand. Please remove your hats. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here with all of you tonight. And just a short, just real quick thought. One of the things that I love about God's Word is that it doesn't have a political bias. It has a biblical bias. And so when it asks us to pray for our leadership, it doesn't say to pray for Republicans or Democrats or or conservatives or anybody else. What it does say is to pray for our leaders no matter who they are, where they come from, whatever's going on. In Proverbs 28:2, the Bible says, when a country is rebellious, it has many rulers, but a ruler with discernment and knowledge maintains order. I think if there's anything that we need in our nation right now is wisdom, knowledge, and order. And so we want to pray for everyone in our leadership, everybody that serves our community, and we want harmony in our city, in the South Bay, and throughout our nation. So let's bow our heads, close our eyes for just a moment, and just ask the Lord to help us for wisdom and discernment. Heavenly Father, we thank you for tonight. We're so grateful for those that serve the community of Lawndale, the residents and the citizens of the city. Lord, for those that are looking out for us, for the Sheriff's Department, for the Fire Department, for all the city workers, and all of those in leadership. Lord, more than anything, we pray for wisdom, which is the good use of knowledge. We also pray for discernment over every situation and circumstance. And above all, Lord God, we pray for harmony amongst our citizens and our neighbors. Lord, one of the things that you ask us to pray for and to do is to love our neighbor. And so, Lord, tonight we pray for our leadership in this room, for those that are watching online, for those in our community, that you keep us all safe. Thank you for allowing this storm to bypass us in the way that it has, but also we pray for those that have been affected. And God, we just ask you for your grace to be upon all of us tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless you all.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Next item on the agenda is a retirement recognition. For 35 years of service, the L.A. County Sheriff's Department Sergeant Sandy Nitz. Sandy, I looked all around the room and I said, where is he? I could not find you, sir. Right? Anywhere. Right. And you were here all alone. Right. Right. You're looking good, sir. Looking good. We want to congratulate you on 35 years of wonderful service, outstanding service to not only the city of Lawndale, but L.A. County as a whole. And we're going to present you with a little token of our appreciation for your 35 years of service. I'm going to read this narrative here. We are pleased tonight to recognize Sergeant Sandy Nix. Let me know if I'm saying your name incorrectly. There you go. With the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, as he retired after 35 years of service to the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, which include his long-standing service to Lawndale. Sergeant Nix, who many of you know as Sandy, began his career as a volunteer reserve deputy with the West Hollywood Station from 1983 to 1988. In 1988, he was hired into a permanent position where he worked custody division, where he stayed until 1990. In 1990, He began working out of the Lennox station where he had a variety of parole assignments that included the city of Lawndale. Promoted in 2008, he transferred back to the city of Lawndale as our operations sergeant, overseeing day-to-day operations of the city of Lawndale location. We are fortunate that we've had the pleasure of Sergeant Nix overseeing the Lawndale operations for so long. He has been steadfast in serving Lawndale over so many years with a commitment to public service. For all of his years of dedications and time, not only to Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, but to the city of Lawndale, we want to thank him for serving and protecting our community. On behalf of the Lawndale City Council members and staff, join me as we applaud Sergeant Nix for a job extraordinary, well done, especially well done. Thank him for serving Lawndale and wishing him well in his retirement after 35 years of public service. Congratulations, Sergeant Sandy Nix, on your retirement. Well done, Sergeant. All right. And let's see, there's about 2 more pages here. No, I'm just kidding. The rest of it's a summation of your 35 years. It says you, 1988, you hired in a permanent position, then you did custody, then patrol, and you were promoted, okay. And then you transferred back, okay. This is a recap. Okay, and then you retired from Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. So with that, we got this nice little plaque here. See that? I'm going to present this with you. All right. Please join us. Join us, City Manager. We did better that time. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right. Good seeing you.
We're going to miss you.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it was really fun working here, and it really helps when we have the city council always backs us when we have operations and stuff like that. And a couple times, you can't do everything perfect, but the sheriff's department, I think, does a great job with these contract cities. This is not the only contract city I ever worked. Said I worked West Hollywood, but I think they get better service here, even though there's more deputies in West Hollywood station. It's a bigger operation, but I think we did a pretty good job, in tackling the different things that goes on here and everything. But it really helped us with the blessing of the city council when we had operations and stuff, like I said, to back us and all that. A lot of cities, there's always friction with the police department and the city council, but I just want to thank all of you for that, and that's it.
All right. All right. Next up is oral communications. Oral communications, you have the opportunity to speak to this body on items that, okay, let's do the public safety before oral communications. as written on our agenda. Let's hear from our sergeant. That's why we have an agenda, huh?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm here tonight to present the public safety report. It's August 7th through the 21st. And before I do that, I just want to say that it's an honor to follow such a great man as Sandy Nitz in his job and his role, and that I hope I can perform it as well as he did. So moving on. For the crime statistics, deputies responded to 346 calls for service for the first half of the month. The average response time for an emergency was 3.1 minutes, 6.4 minutes for a priority call, the average response time, and 37 minutes for a routine call. There were 12 grand theft autos, 3 shopliftings, I mixed those two, 6 thefts from a vehicle, 2 aggravated assaults, 4 residential burglaries, 3 second-degree burglaries, and 1 strong arm robbery, SDs, like an SDs robbery. We participated at the beginning of the month in 3 different grant operations from the Office of Traffic Safety, and in that we netted 41 citations for different vehicle codes, which included speeding, stop sign violations, red light violations, seatbelt violations, modified exhaust, and tinted windows. And just one notable investigation during this period. Deputies responded to the 4000 block of Manhattan Beach Boulevard regarding a burglary occurring now, call for service. The call stated a man was in the alley with a crowbar attempting to break into the garage. The deputies confronted the man and arrested him for secondary burglary and vandalism. I would happy to be answering questions that you may have.
Okay, are there any questions of the public safety report? Okay, thank you, Sergeant, for the report. Okay. Now, according to our agenda, we're on oral communications. This is where you have the opportunity to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda. If you want to speak on the oral communications, if you line up by the flag, when it becomes your turn, if you would start with your name. You don't have to wait for your name to be called. Just simply approach the podium once the person in front of you has concluded. If you would give us your name first, at about 2.5 minutes, the amber light will come on, and that'll give you the signal to start wrapping up your comments. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. This is the second time I'm here, and I made it a point to come. There is something that disturbed me in the city of Lawndale this past week, and that is on Friday afternoon, the city yard ran out of sandbags. There were no sandbags in the city of Lawndale. I called the fire department in Lawndale, and they directed me to Hawthorne. When I called in Hawthorne, they told me to go to the city of Gardena because the city of Gardena has the public work yard has a lot of sandbags. When I got there, they were only giving the sandbags to the residents of the city of Gardena. We need to be better prepared for a storm. We have a lot of residents, and Friday evening, my neighbors were asking for sandbags. Some of them went to Redondo Beach. Redondo Beach, they were so inundated with people there that they didn't have the opportunity to check everybody's ID. So some of my neighbors were able to get sandbags from Redondo Beach. But really and truly, it was just because they were so busy and there were so many people, they were able to get away with it. In the case of an emergency like this, every city has the right to decide who they're going to give their sandbags to, and I can understand that they would want to give it to their residents, but still, Lawndale needs to be better prepared for the next hurricane or storm. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Randall Abram. It was nice to see Sergeant Nitz. I remember him out on the 4th of July patrolling with Lieutenant Hawkins, so his efforts were always appreciated. With over 100 administrative citations written for illegal fireworks, the community should know that Lawndale is looking seriously at ending this nonsense. After all the appeals for the $2,500 citations, it will be interesting to see how many citations are actually paid. At the last meeting, a copy was distributed to the City Council of the comprehensive report by the Orange County Grand Jury on the impact of legal and illegal fireworks in several Orange County cities. This report was also available to those in attendance at the meeting. Hopefully, council members all had a chance to read this report. One of the many recommendations from this grand jury report was to declare a moratorium of fireworks sales for at least 3 or more consecutive years in those Orange County cities with legal fireworks, to allow law enforcement and fire officials in these cities the opportunity to curb the escalating use of illegal fireworks activity. Based on recommendations from city staff who observed the illegal activity that mixed in with safe and sane fireworks, members of the Lawndale City Council indicated an interest in such a moratorium. As the first meeting in September was canceled several months ago, the next City Council meeting is scheduled on September 18th. Obviously, the proposed moratorium needs to be placed on the agenda as soon as possible, and hopefully at that meeting. Those 2 or 3 organizations still eligible to have a booth next year need to start planning for alternative methods of fundraising, of which there are a multitude available. The city needs to keep exploring all reasonable methods to reduce the number of illegal fireworks blasted during the July 4th holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I'm here because I'm a recent new resident here in the city of Lawndale.
Can you start with giving us your name, please?
Yes, my name is Monica Padilla.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I also manage the property located over in Gravelia Avenue. And this is in regards to, I believe, is a newly adopted changes that you guys enforced with the illegal fireworks. We got a citation, the owner did, and that citation is for $2,500, which in order for us to dispute it, we have to submit financial records and paperwork that we feel that is, with all due respect, none of your business. And in order for us to dispute anything, we have to turn around and pay for the fine prior to getting a hearing issued. However, not all of us can afford $2,500 up front. And a lot of the times it happens where we pay the fine and no hearing is ever issued to us, claiming whether we don't qualify or basically we just don't ever hear anything back. So we are here asking, and I'm representing the owner, for some kind of an amendment that you guys can apply so that hearings can be issued to prove our innocence before taking us as guilty for such citation. I mean, it's a high amount that I'm sure that as a tenant and also as an owner, especially after COVID, we cannot afford to come out with. And I mean, it's questionable as far as where all the money is going. Where are you guys allocating this? I mean, I'm interested in finding out because it's a lot of money. And just like the other gentleman just said, it may deter some people. Great. However, it's not helping others by asking for such an amount prior to getting a hearing. The citation that was given, it states on your memorandum, it says that the officers will be administrating a $2,500 ticket in possession to the person that is going to be caught with that. However, you send the ticket out to the owner. Is that the regular protocol? I mean, is it pick and choose? It's very questionable, and I need to know, and I need to find out if there's a hearing that can be done without having to fork out $2,500. Because we can't afford it. We're not the ones that did the illegal fireworking or whatever it's called, but
Time has expired.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Will I be getting a response or?
Yeah, we will respond after everyone had a chance to speak.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Just really quick, Dina, Lawndale resident. I want to give a shout out to Rusher Air. Their business is here in Lawndale, and they also did such a nice thing to help drop off supplies and everything, which I did. for Maui in helping with the fire and everything. So a really great local business, Rusher Air, so I want to thank them. And also with the Blues Festival coming up, I see another shout out is for the South Bay Locals, the Car Club, which is a very nice club and has a lot of nice cars. So hope everybody attends that. They put on a good show. They go to a lot of local shows with their vehicles and everything else. And just one more thing, and this is really for the sheriff. Last time he came up here for the safety report, and again, this is of course on next door, but nobody knows the answer, is what happened on the off-ramp of Inglewood Avenue and the off-ramp right there. I know there was like a body with a sheet covered and what have you, but we never got to hear what happened, whether somebody was hit or something else happened. And we just kind of like to know because, again, it's just on next door, but it's always just word of everybody guessing instead of like knowing if there was a crime committed or if it was just a tragic accident. So we'd all like to know. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you only have only one chance to speak. Sorry about that. Let's conclude our public comments. Let's bring up the diocese for any more comments from the council. Let's start with the Hoffman Gorman.
Thank you to everybody that came out to speak. I have a few of them here that I've written down. The first one about the concern about sandbags. Leah, do you have any information for that or anything that we learned through this last event that we might be changing?
From the information that I'm getting, they had about 150 sandbags, which they usually have some left over at storm events. So this one, they had a surge of people coming, which they probably didn't expect this many. But they did run out. Next time there's a state of emergency type of situation, we'll make sure to have more sandbags available.
Thank you. As far as your firework concerns, there's not really a heck of a lot that us as city council people can respond to right now. I don't know, can our city manager say something on that issue?
Mayor and council, so these are legal actions. You guys can't make any comments on that. Staff, well, have Michael talk to the folks that have comments and questions, and we'll get with them. And there are, just so you're well aware, there are appeals process, and they can file a, I believe it's if they can't come up with the amount of money, they can file for hardship, and they have to fill out that information for the hardship claim in order to get exempted from requiring the 25 up front. But typically what's required is that just like our parking tickets, we have to treat everyone the same. They have to come up with that amount. But they can file a hardship claim and fill out the paperwork to Mr. Reyes. Mr. Reyes will talk to them after the meeting and then give them that information or in between the meeting and help them out with that information and get them to the process.
Thank you. And Dina, thank you for the compliment on a Lawndale business. That's always really pleasant to hear, is that Lawndale businesses are going above and beyond in service. And Sergeant, if you could, do you have anything to say on that Inglewood Avenue question that Dina might have?
Yes. Thank you, Council, for having me back up. The deputies responded to a call of a person down around the 405 freeway at Inglewood Avenue on the sidewalk. Somebody saw a person lying on the sidewalk. At the time of the investigation, it was being treated as an unknown causes death. So I can't speak right now if it was natural or if it was criminal in nature. One, because the investigation is still ongoing, and two, because I don't really know. So that's all I know about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask one more thing for you? I have 3 gentlemen that are sitting here that I would like for you to see before they happen to leave here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you two can get together, I'd appreciate that. And Randall, I completely agree with you. Sandy Nitz will be missed. He was as much Lawndale as I think the rest of us are. He knew the heartbeat of our city, and I wish him the very best in retirement, and congratulate Justin for moving forward on that, okay? That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Suarez.
I'd like to thank everybody that came out tonight. I hope everyone was safe over this past weekend. Getting into it, the sandbags, I think it might be also prudent for us to see in the contingency plan for if they are out of sandbags, where we can direct them to. I know the county was doing a lot too, so if someone asks and we have, rather than them running around and trying to find something, we have somewhere else for them to go. And then with regards to the fireworks, I know there's not a lot we can talk on. I would, however, be interested in looking at, because I know we've had situations where sometimes residents come to us and ask. It would be interesting to see how the process is going, because I am interested in, it is kind of a lot of money to fork up if the citation wasn't justified in that case. So I would be interested to see, I know we've had a few people come trying to monitor how that process is working, because some of them, maybe it's not warranted for whatever reason, and we wouldn't want them to have to fork up that. So that, I'd be interested to look and monitor and get a report. And then also if our city manager could respond to how the money's being spent for that 2,500.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. We'll get that information as soon as I just talked to Mr. Reyes before the council meeting about where we're at with the appeals. The money will be put back in whatever's collected, if we can collect it all from the 104 citations. There are some appeals pending, so we may lose on some of those. So some people did opt to appeal. We're going to redirect that money towards outreach programs for, adding additional signs, because we had and for more deputies, and seeing if and other resources like public service announcements, getting ahead of the, buying more of those signs, those are transitory big signs that Public Works at, looking at a litany of things, buying more signage throughout the city, running even ads as well as what we're looking at the money for, to reinvest it for anti-illegal firework use.
Okay, thank you, and with that, I'll pass it along.
All right, thank you. Yes, I want to thank all those who spoke tonight as well. Going back on the sandbag issue, yeah, we definitely will make provisions to make sure that we have enough sandbags in the future. I do want to take notice that I'm really surprised to find that the LA County Fire Department was restricting, if that's what I'm hearing, restricting sandbags to residents of Gardena. Because I know in time past, if you're in LA County, you're in LA County, and you're able to get sandbags from whatever LA County station, long as it's an actual LA County fire station and not a city fire station. So that's kind of disappointing if they were only allowing residents of a particular city in LA County to receive the bags, as opposed to first come, first served, no matter where you are in LA County. So that's new. I don't know if that's their policy or why that happened or what have you. But we definitely make sure that on our end that we have as much as as many as we can, but understanding or getting clarification if we can go to other cities to get sandbags from the LA County Fire Department, should we run out. Because I know other cities ran out as well. I don't know what their residents did in terms of did they go to another city and then get them from the fire department as well. I assume so, maybe not, hearing what I'm hearing tonight, but we'll take a look at that. Also on the fireworks fine, as I stated last council meeting, I had some questions as to the amount of the fines are. I'm not saying that the amount of the fines are too high, but I know the amount of the fines are challenging for those who may have received a citation simply because someone was standing in their yard on their property and they were not a party to it and received a citation because the citation was sent to the owner. I'm a little concerned about that. Now, if someone is actually using illegal fireworks, I'm not really that disturbed about the amount of the fine itself. But it's easy for someone to know that, okay, if you're going to have a fine, it's going to be $2,500. Maybe we shouldn't do it in front of our house. Maybe we should do it in front of, the residents down the street's home because the person there is elderly. What are they going to do? Or they're out of town. How are they going to know? What have you. And then they come home and like one resident who would contact me and and realized they were subject to a citation that they, one, can't afford, and two, they were not a party to. So I don't know how we figure that out. I know we have the process to where if you have a hardship, you can show all your documentations or what have you. You may be granted a hardship and don't have to pay the bail prior to the hearing. For some, that may be a little encumbersome for them to get those documentations, but notwithstanding that, just the ideal that someone you can get a citation because someone was standing in your yard or what have you, discharging the fireworks. Are they threw the fireworks in your yard and the fireworks was in your quote unquote possession in terms of being on your property? I think if there's some way that we can work through that moving forward to next year, I think that would be something we need to address. Other than that, I do want to thank Dina also for bringing that to our attention. A local, what's it called, Rustler? Rush Your Air for our brothers and sisters in Hawaii, our family members in Hawaii are in peril. And so for our business communities to reach out, to be a part of providing relief, that is wonderful. I think we should maybe send them a letter of thanks or some type of letter recognizing their efforts and really encourage others to do so too, because even though the storm is over, they still, from what I understand, have not even released the amount of children who still are missing. And if your child is missing from the storm, it may not be a good news. You know, to have that many, I've heard, I don't know if it's true, upwards of 1,000 that are missing. Or people, I should say, a lot of them are children, are still missing. And so for our business community to reach out and to be a part of that relief effort, we really appreciate that. And thank you for bringing that to our attention. And with that, that's all I have, and we will close public comments. Yes. Okay. All right, with that, we will move the agenda. We are now on item G, which is the consent calendar. What is the pleasure of this body concerning such?
If there are no questions or concerns, I'll make a motion that we approve.
Okay,
I'll second it.
The motion's been made that we approve the consent calendar by Suarez and seconded by Gorman Hoffman. Are there any discussions on the motion? Do we need to read anything? Nope. Okay. Would the council please vote on the consent?
The motion for the consent calendar passes unanimously with Mayor Pro Tem Cuevas and Councilmember Kearney absent.
Thank you. Item 9 is a presentation on traffic safety.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council.
Okay. Let's see if
Can you
this
guys hear me?
if we can turn that mic on for us.
Hello, can you hear me? Good evening, everyone.
No, I don't think it's on. Is it on?
Do I need to talk louder?
Oh, there you go. We
Is
can
that
hear you
better?
now. There you go.
Okay. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This evening, I'm going to be presenting a series of slides which outline traffic safety. I'll try to make it as brief as possible as it relates to public works as requested by council. So the slide is going to highlight the traffic committee, some of our CIP projects that handle some traffic safety, our permits, public works requests, and traffic signals. So the traffic committee consists of the public works director, the community development director, municipal services director, our sheriff's deputy, and we also have our associate and assistant engineers. The traffic committee, as defined in the municipal code, has a duty to coordinate activities and to recommend to the city council ways and means for improving traffic conditions and the administration and enforcement of traffic regulations. We have a process for the traffic committee, which includes receiving work requests from residents. If any safety concerns such as traffic signals on flash or stop signs knocked over or other traffic concerns are brought to their attention, they're welcome to put in a request at the website, which they can go to the city website. There's a form in there that they can fill out. Once that form is filled out, we receive it, we review it, and when a concern has been deemed to require further action, then we will set up a committee meeting, which occurs every third Thursday of the month at 2 p.m. in the Public Works Department. That's the basic procedure. And once the meeting takes place, we will have a staff report prior to the meeting and then the meeting minutes at the end to conclude the findings. Our CIP projects cover, these are two examples of CIP projects, Inglewood Avenue Phase 1, 2, and 3, and the Citywide Sign Replacement Project. These are two projects that, with the improvements, improve traffic safety within the city. Striping, major street repair work, street rehab, repairs of curb gutter, sidewalk, ADA ramps, signal upgrades, striping, and sign replacements are all included in these types of rehabilitation projects. Encroachment permits, which we issue to utility and residential, all require that the utility companies and residentials follow the California Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices when they set up their traffic control, just to ensure safety when they're doing their construction on our city streets. The Inglewood Avenue project had a few missing delineators lately. This was a new project that installed the delineators as you see there. Once they went missing, our Public Works Department team went out and replaced them. So these are some of the maintenance projects that our staff continually go out to make sure that traffic is continually safe for residents and vehicles. And here we have the Inglewood Avenue Intersection Improvement Project, which is with the city of Redondo Beach. And there's a video there which features Nick Petrevsky, which is our associate engineer. And if you could play it for us.
Intersection improvement project. Unfortunately, they restriped, making the area unsafe for vehicles that converge a little too quick. We met with Redondo Beach and a traffic engineer, came up with a solution. They're going to restripe it actually August 14th that night in order to make this area safer for residents, commuters, vehicles.
And the next video is the Citywide Sign Replacement Project by Nabi Siddiqui, and he was the project manager, and we'll let you hear that video.
Hi, I'm Nabi Siddiqui, the assistant engineer and project manager for the annual Citywide Sign Replacement Project. Throughout the city, we have been able to replace a numerous amount of damaged posts and signs that have reached its useful life. We have been able to upgrade our signs with the diamond grade shading that can be seen 1,500 feet away. This allows an orderly movement of traffic and safety to our city.
Sorry, you probably couldn't hear that, but he was talking about replacing the signs that have low reflectivity with newer signs that are more reflective. So the next slide talks about our street maintenance component in Public Works, which includes our maintenance workers. They go out every day and fill potholes. They paint red curbs. Their weed abatement, graffiti removal, bulky item pickup. They do a lot every day. I have a couple videos here. I don't know if we want to play them or if we have time or if we should just move along. What do you think? Move along? And finally, the LA County Department of Public Works maintains and manages all our traffic signals. The traffic signals at the freeway off-ramps are maintained by Caltrans. So in conclusion, we have some programs being developed
citywide sidewalk inspection, annual residential street rehab projects annually, and ADA transition plans. These are just a few of the many projects that we have to keep the city safe and moving forward. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Are there any questions on this item?
No questions, but I want to just say thank you. I know we get a lot of requests specifically on street safety and sometimes some of these others, so I would encourage people. If you look at our agenda online, the slides will be in there, so if you miss some of this information, that way you get a little better idea. You can go through it at your own pace, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We will receive and file that without any objections. You object? Okay, item number 10, amendment to the fiscal year 2023-24 Community Block Grant budget allocation. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'm requesting, Community Development is requesting the amendment to the 2023-2024 CDBG budget allocation. We are requesting that we extend or add some funds over to previous projects, 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, due to them being continued and extended. So their due date moved all the way to June 30th, 2024. So we are requesting additional funds for labor compliance. And in the back in the chart, you can see the 3 projects that are being added for funds, which is street improvements for 2022, 2023, and senior activities and administration for 2022, 2023. And that concludes my staff report. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions on the staff report? Okay. What is the pleasure of this body concerning this request?
I'll make the motion that we move forward with staff's recommendation for the amendment for the budget allocation.
Okay, the motion been made by Suarez.
I'll second it.
And seconded by Hoffman Gorman. Is there any discussion on the motion? I keep looking over there. Seeing none, with the council please vote?
The motion passes unanimously with Mayor Pro Tem Cuevas and Councilmember Kearney absent.
Thank you. Item 11, the purchase of a new special transit vehicle.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Nice to see everyone tonight. So regarding the purchase of new special transit vehicles for the Community Services Department, just to kind of recap what happened, our 2011 El Dorado Ford F-50 chassis died in service in July, and that vehicle had a lot of mileage on it, a lot of use. You know, we got our money's worth out of it. Thank goodness no passengers were on board. But at any rate, we took that into a local auto shop and had the problem diagnosed, and it was a dead transmission. So the cost of that would have been $8,000 at the minimum to replace that. So we did not have a transit vehicle. I think 2 meetings ago, the end of July, you folks approved the lease of another vehicle from our transportation concepts, the Lawndale Beat contractor, for $2,000 a month. So there's a cost to that. We've been using that for 3 weeks now, closing in on a month, and it's working out right now, but I'm just trying to express the fact that we had a real serious need here to take care of our seniors for essential transportation to and from lunch and some of those other things. But way back in March or April, as part of the upcoming budget process, we discussed the use extensively in a couple meetings, the use of Prop A funds. Metro let us know that we had an excess use of funds, so we needed to use a lot of money, and we had these discussions that said, hey, we need a new transit vehicle, and we even talked about getting 2 transit vehicles before this vehicle died. So there were plans to come to City Council and find Metro funding, Prop A funding, for 2 vehicles. So in essence, we're talking about a little, a slight increase in the program or upgrading the program a little bit now that we'll have 2 vehicles. So they're totally Prop A compliant. The use of the vehicle has to be for a public purpose. It can't be used for staff functions, deliveries, and stuff like that. So it's going to be used for the people. So we set out to start getting quotes for new vehicles and try to give you a brief explanation of the way the manufacturing market is working for transit vehicles these days. Is there were full bus lots at dealerships full of large buses and transit vehicles when the pandemic hit. So basically what happened, I've been told this by a number of car dealers and manufacturers, by the way, as well, but people stopped buying transit vehicles, all programs came to a stop, so a lot of these dealerships took a bath. They ended up with a lot of vehicles on the lot that they couldn't sell. They ended up selling them for a discount. So now these buses are being manufactured a different way now. They're being manufactured on demand. A good example is when we signed the contract with Transportation Concepts for the Lawndale Beat, we had to order buses. So we ordered buses that are on a 9 to 12 month turnaround. You folks may remember that. So those were ordered in June. They're being built right now. I hope they're being built now. But at any rate, best case scenario is we'll get our new buses for the Lawndale Beat in March or April. It could go on until June. So when we started searching for vehicles, it was really hard to find vehicles, very difficult to find vehicles. All right, more light. Very difficult to find vehicles, and we contacted numerous dealerships. Okay, and we're all told the same thing. They're on 9-month on-demand type of order. Okay, so there was no easy way to find vehicles. We did get lucky, though. We contacted Model 1 in Chino, which is formerly Creative Bus Lines, and they had 2 brand new 2023 27-foot all-star transit vehicles on their lot. This was about 2.5 weeks ago. I said, you know what, you've got to hold these for us. You've got to hold these for us. And they held them for us. And they would have been sold by now. So waiting for this time where we can get this action approved and we can get our quotes in and have the money spent on these vehicles. But they're ours if we want to claim them. And we'll have them probably around Labor Day, I think, after I kind of cover the other things that need to be done. So we have 2 buses on hold for us. We've searched Texas, Tennessee, online searches everywhere. We've searched dozens and dozens just to find out who has them and who doesn't. So Model 1 in Chino actually has 2 buses waiting for us if we can get all this business approved tonight. So we did gather quotes preparing for this moment, and if we just flip to page 3, we can review the quotes real quick. We found an All-Star Starcraft 2024, again 9 to 12 month on-demand delivery schedule in Franklin, Tennessee. This is the lowest quote. It's $129,000, so 2 have extended out. We're looking at $258,000 for 2 of them. That's the lowest quote. The next one was Model 1, once again, formerly Creative Bus Sales. We've dealt with them before. They're in Chino. They have the transit vehicles for $1,031 to, what is it, $1,031, $266, I believe. Yes, so it's about $2,600 more. But they have them, okay, and we won't have to wait 9 to 12 months to get our special transit situation back on board and to quit paying that $2,000 a month that we would have to pay for 9 to 12 months until the new buses come. The third one was way up there, Starcraft Bus Sales. This is the actual manufacturer of the bus, and they were at $157 each, $157,000, so we're looking at $314. So we have an immediate need. Okay, and the city attorneys kind of reviewed everything and walked us through this, but we have a really serious immediate need in community services and to take care of our seniors for transportation to lunch, essential visits to the dental office, to the hospital, the hair salon, things like that, grocery shopping, things like that. The higher priority essential ones always take precedent. We're going to take somebody to the hospital if they have a doctor's appointment before we're going to take them to the hair salon, just as an example of that. So, yeah, we have an immediate need, and we just did not want to wait 9 to 12 months and continue to pay $2,000 for a transit bus that's old. It works, but it's old. The seniors aren't super thrilled about it, but we have something at this time. So moving on, again, they're road ready and ready to go. So Again, the city attorney has looked at all this and has walked us through this, and we find that since we have an immediate need, that there's a way to do this. Now, the second component of my staff report is going to be branding the vehicles. And I'm going to stay on page 3 real quick, but, we brand the vehicles in the Lawndale Beat colors, the blue, yellow, and gold, and the stripes, not the Lawndale Beat, but the special transit colors. So those have to be wrapped. So we wanted to arrange a situation where we have those wrapped at the dealership in Chino, so when they come here, they're ready for the road, instead of bringing it home and then finding somebody to brand them. So we have this all set up, if we can get this report approved tonight, to have decals by design in Corona to go out to the dealership and to wrap the 2 buses. And you can see the 3 quotes that we have. Decal by Designs will do it for $21.50. That's both buses. I'm sorry, $31.50 for both buses. We found the graphics department that will do it for $5,398. And then Outlaw Graphics, a local company in Gardena, will do it for $6,163. So that's the second part of this report here, is that we would like to have the buses branded at the dealership in Chino. Then when they come to us, they'll be road ready to go, ready for service. So if we spend that extra week or so branding, I'm suspecting we'll have these vehicles, from what I've been told, probably around Labor Day, maybe as late as the second week in September. It sure beats paying $2,000 a month for another vehicle. Make sure that concludes my report. Not quite. The fiscal impact is for the 2 vehicles, $262,000 is Prop A funded money. It's already been approved by Metro, so they're counting on us spending that money. And then for the wrapping, we'll take care of that out of my department budget, Community Services Program, Prop A funds. There's a little bit of, there's really no there's no city dollars. These are all non-city dollars going to take care of these buses and also taking care of the branding as well. So staff recommends that City Council determine the purchase of 2 new StarCraft All-Star 27-foot vehicles for $263,332 from Model 1 commercial bus sales in Chino, California. Is appropriately a sole purchase under LMC 3.08.110 parentheses 1B, and approve this purchase. Again, it is sole source at this point. We cannot find any other vehicles. And number 2, we're asking for approval of both of these. Approve the expenditure of $31.50 to Decals by Design Incorporated in Corona, California, to brand the 2 new vehicles at Model 1 Commercial Bus Sales Dealership in Chino, California, and appropriate a total of $266,482 in Prop A monies for the purchase of 2 new vehicles and the branding. Or number 4, which one we always want to give you folks, is provide further direction. So we're actually asking for 3 different moves here on actions 1, 2, and 3. And again, not a penny of city money is being used on this, and our seniors are looking forward to it. And just the other thing that's mentioned in the staff report is we'll have 2 transit vehicles now as well. So when we talked about getting 2 vehicles back in March and April, when these discussions started, we talked about how we could expand this program. So we do know that we have a part-time transit driver position on the books that we would like to fill. We'll talk to Sean and Raylette more about that, but we do think that there's a need to expand the special transit program a little bit. For example, we bring the seniors to and from lunch every day. If somebody has an essential appointment that they have to get to at Kaiser or Little Company Mary, wherever it is, at 12:30, we can't commit to them because we don't have that second vehicle, we don't have that second driver. And vice versa, if we have an overwhelming number of essential appointments, whether it's dental appointments, trips to the doctor, whatever it is, if we have an overwhelming amount of those in the morning, it's going to be tough to get all the seniors to lunch. So we want to be able to handle all the senior transportation business, and with 2 vehicles and then bringing back that part-time transit operator program, we're going to be able to keep all the seniors happy, because it seems like there's more of a demand now than there has been since probably before the pandemic. So that concludes my report, and I'll be here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for that report. Are there any questions in the report? I do have one question, more of an observation on the branding. between the number 1 and number 2, I see there's a significant difference. Sometimes, as you know, sometimes when there's a significant difference between, providers of services, sometimes you find out why there was a significant difference after you bought the services. Are we comfortable knowing this is like almost a $2,000 difference between those two?
Yes.
As opposed to the
I'm sorry.
2 and 3, there's not as much of a difference. So I'm just making sure we're comfortable with that.
We've seen their work.
You've seen it?
We've seen their work. Yeah, they do a lot of local work out there, and we've seen it. And I think these others, there's a few notes on down here why it's more. Like, for example, vendor number 2's tacking on $465 for a survey, another $214 for tax with decals by design, taxes included, as well as the third company is also suggesting tax as well. But we've seen their work, Mayor, and we're confident they'll do a great job.
Okay, very good. Okay, that was my only observation. Are there any other questions or observations on this report? What is the pleasure of this body? So you guys are going back and forth, ladies.
Well,
who's going
I
to
think
second?
he gave a very compelling argument that we need these buses right away.
Absolutely.
And for that reason, I vote to go with staff's recommendation, or I'll make the motion.
So the motion's been made by Suarez that we go with staff recommendation.
I'll
And
second
you want
it.
a second? Okay, seconded by Gorman Hoffman. I do as well. The fact that we're going to be able to expand the special transit program makes this definitely something that we need to do, and the seniors are looking forward to it, and they deserve it. And with that, unless there's any other questions, the council please vote.
For item number 11, the motion passes unanimously with Mayor Pro Tem Cuevas and Councilmember Kearney absent.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Okay. Next item is the city manager's report.
No items to report, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Okay, you had such a full report last meeting, you don't have anything for us this time. We appreciate you, thank you. Okay, let's move to item 12, items from city council member. Item 12 is discussion regarding filling the campaign disclosure statements using electronic systems. Who wants to go on this?
That will be me.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Yvette Hall, Assistant City Clerk. This is a report requested at the last council meeting by Councilmember Suarez. She inquired about the acceptance of the possibility of accepting electronic campaign disclosure statements. So staff did conduct its research and has found that, yes, the council can accept electronic submissions of campaign disclosure statements. However, there are a few steps that need to be implemented, as well as the cost that is associated with this system. One of the first things that would need to happen is that an ordinance would need to be adopted by the City Council allowing the electronic submission of the campaign statements. Second, there is only one vendor that provides this service that has been approved by the Secretary of State, which is called NetFile. And as I mentioned, there is a cost that is associated with implementing the system. The cost is $3,500 per year. This cost is guaranteed for up to 5 years. In addition, if the council is interested in implementing a Form 700 system for the employees that submit these forms, that would cost an additional $2,000 per year. And NetFile is offering a discount if you were to approve both of those systems for a total of $3,700 per year. Again, that's guaranteed for up to 5 years. If the council would like more information, I'm happy to answer any questions. Staff is recommending that council review and discuss the filing of the electronic submission of campaign statements. And in addition, if you are interested in using something like this, the monies would be allocated from the general fund budget. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you for the report. Councilwoman Suarez?
I had a question, because originally when I had asked this, I in my head I was thinking just being able to email the disclosures, because I know we have to submit hard copies with wet signatures. Is that our policy, or is that just the county's policy that, because I know for the Secretary of State, you have to, your initial form, you have to submit that. But for the other ones that we file in-house, the 460s and such, is that our policy, or is that the county that?
It's actually the Fair Political Practices Commission's policy. They do not allow the acceptance of scanned copies, email, except for certain campaign reports such as the 497, which are the 24-hour reports. They do allow you to email those because it is hard to get something in within 24 hours. For example, if City Hall is closed. So those, we do accept those. But if you would like to have some type of online system, it would be a cost associated with that.
Okay, so
unfortunately.
not even DocuSign, they wouldn't allow. It has to be wet signature?
It has to be either hard copy, correct paper, or through a system like using NetFile.
Okay, because that was my initial. I mean, I'm all for filing electronically, but however, in my head, I was thinking something that wasn't a cost. I don't think we have a lot of, during campaign season, that many people that run for office, especially since we're a small city, so I'm okay putting this on the back burner. That was mainly my intent with the being able to use less paper and whatnot. And I don't know, maybe there is a cost savings with doing it electronically. I'm not sure with the system, because I know we use a lot of paper for certain things, but that was my main intent, was the signature portion of it.
Okay. So why don't we, without objection, receive and file this, and we could at any point visit it if we need to in the future. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can always discuss it next budget cycle, if that's something we want to do.
All righty. So that would be the order on item 12. Now we're on item 13. Oh, he's doing item 13? I thought you was doing item 13. Go ahead.
He's doing it there, Council.
Go ahead.
I'm the lemonade man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so,
Well, let me tee it up real quick. So
okay.
So item 13 is a lemonade day. So my daughter just happened to work for the Lawndale Chamber of Commerce, and I went to an event this past summer that she was helping to coordinate with the Lawndale Chamber of Commerce called Lemonade Day. And the Lemonade Day basically gives the youth in the community the opportunity to become entrepreneurs, to show their hands at entrepreneurs, and they take one day out and they sell lemonade and other items throughout the cities, and it's kind of like a competition. So they just don't set up, on the corner or in the yard, but there's a whole protocol, whole history behind it. It gives them opportunity, of course, to learn what it takes to go into business. It helps them develop their skills, and to have a staff and all the stuff they need or what have you. And I thought this might be something that our Youth Advisory Committee may be interested in. So go ahead and tee it up.
yes, that concludes my staff report.
I'm here all week.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so Lemonade Day, it's a nonprofit organization founded in 2007 in Houston, Texas by a gentleman named Michael Holthouse, and it's still going today. They have, I think they have 7 employees, led by CEO Debbie Nazarian, who I've spoken to a few times. So it all starts here. And Lemonade Day, it basically has 1.5 million children have participated with a lemonade stand, and generated approximately $270 million since 2007. And they're typically licensed in 90 licensed markets in the United States, Canada, and Bermuda. The Lemonade mission is to, quote unquote, help prepare youth for life through fun, proactive, experiential programs infused with life skills, character, education, and entrepreneurship. The foremost objective is to help today's youth become business leaders, social advocates, community volunteers, forward-thinking citizens of tomorrow, and we want to build self-esteem and new mindsets that can propel youth to success they likely would not have pursued otherwise. And as the mayor mentioned, these are these are typically organized by grassroots groups. Some are community groups in the neighborhood that are just grassroots. They may not be an official nonprofit or whatever, just a group of citizens that want to try to teach their kids how to be business leaders. And the other common way is chambers of commerce. There's 3 in this area here that have been running for years. I'm not sure about Gardena, but Hermosa Beach has one, Lomita has one, and Gardena has one. Lomita and Hermosa Beach, I'm very familiar with those because I spend time in both of those cities. They're fairly large. I'm going to take a guess, maybe 2 or 3 dozen. Gardena was really slow. They're only 5 or 6. And they try to make it interesting. They not only sell lemonade, some of them sell cookies and muffins and things like that with it. Some of them have promotions, like the group, whoever it is, whether it's the chamber or whatever, will have, Entrepreneur of the Year, best lemonade stand, or, the most revenue in this year, whatever it is. So it seems to be a really worthwhile program. The kids have a really good time. It takes a lot of planning. Some of the things that they'd have to do is register for a lemonade stand, choose a location, find a sponsor, create a budget, create marketing materials, promote publicly, set prices, create visible menus, develop a fee collection system, set a pop-up business, decorate the business, recruit volunteers to help, purchase fresh ingredients, maintain clean utensils, and things like that. So it really teaches them to take a business from the start to the finish, and they're the CEO. They're doing a lot of work. In terms of profit sharing, there's no requirement as to what they do with their money. They can go out and buy that hot PlayStation game that they've been desiring to have since whenever. Or I noticed that a lot of kids donate to their favorite charity. A lot of kids donate to Animal Rescue, the American Heart Association, those types of things. I've seen donations of 10%. I've seen donations of 30% and 50%. So it's kind of all over the board on what they can do, and I think that's a big part of it too, is we're not here to just make money for ourselves. We're here to try to help others as well. So most kids that have a lemonade stand do that as well. And when the program's over, they have to report statistics to Lemonade Day, so they have to tabulate how many people they served, how many of this they sold, how many of that, how much money did they collect, and things like that. So they learn how to report things as well. So that's all the information, in conjunction with the mayor mentioned. So Lomita's been doing this. I think Lomita's been doing this for 3 years. Hermosa Beach a little bit longer. Gardena's fairly new. And I believe those are the only 3 in California. If my research is correct, these are the only 3 lemonade stands in California. So there's no fiscal impact to the city. If the city wants to consider making this a staff-run event, then we'd have to do a cost analysis and see if we have enough staff to handle that and to see what it is we would need to do, because it would be on the same level as a special event that we have, not on the same level as the Youth Day Parade, but maybe like planning a Halloween event or something like that. Staff recommends that the City Council, number 1, receive and file this report or provide further direction to staff, and that concludes my report. I'll be here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for that report. Any questions, any thoughts on it?
I like the idea. I think it's pretty nostalgic for me. I remember, you do a lemonade stand to try and raise some funds, and I think there's also some educational purposes for our youth. And I think it's nice to have activities for them to participate in and get them out and interacting with the community. So I'm all for something like this, even if we have to kickstart it, provide some assistance to get it going through the city. So, but those are my thoughts.
Okay. And another thing we could, thank you for those thoughts, can do also, of course, tap into the business community as well, because it is about the youth becoming entrepreneurs and business owners, getting that experience. So that would be great to pair them with the business community, which is one of the things they could do as part of their, their stand. Also, I would say that they also are required, at least in Lomita's case, to actually have a license. So they have to come and get a business license from the city. Of course, they make sure that it's appropriate price, right?
Sure.
I believe there was like $5 or whatever for a business license, right? But they had to go through the whole process, if you will, of actually getting a business license, and stuff like that. So it's totally a legit, business or what have you, because if you're looking to get experience, you want to get experience as close as you can get to the actual real thing, right? So that's why they was required to have a business license, which I believe is a great thing. So I think it's something that our kids will enjoy. I would suggest that we send this item to the Youth Advisory Committee to have them to take a look at it, and maybe they can weigh in on their thoughts on it. And I would like to see if we implemented them, the Youth Advisory Committee involved in it. By the way, we haven't seen any projects from the Youth Advisory Committees, and it's been a minute, so that's a side note. Also, if we can do a cost analysis or what have you, so we'll know moving forth, should we decide to do it, how much it would cost in terms of our budget allocation.
And just real quick, the Youth Advisory Committee, we just can't seem to fill that. We're still trying, we're still promoting and trying to get that full, but this may be something that could go to Parks and Rec as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. And that's it. That's my comments for now. Okay, with that, we'll, without any objection, we'll receive and file this item and send it to the Youth Advisory Committee for their comments. Okay. Thank you for the report. Okay. Let's see, where are we now? Okay, next item. Items from the mayor and city council members. Let's hear from council. We're back at you. Councilwoman Hoffman-Gordon.
I attended the Zoom Legislative Committee meeting for Contract Cities and also the monthly meeting for Contract Cities out at the Arboretum, which was absolutely a beautiful evening. That is it.
Nice.
I do want to remind the residents, Mike, if you could help me. Is it you for the Jazz Festival coming up? And also, I want to do a reminder for those listening on the Cleanup Day. Both of those events.
Michael, I'll go ahead and go first. So yeah, we have the Blues Festival coming up. It's our 10th annual Blues Festival. First one started in 2013. We're super excited. Last year we got canceled because of the weather disasters. But we have 4 bands. We're going to start at 12 o'clock. We have Kara Granger playing from 12 to 1:20. 1:30 to 2:40, we have Steve Riddle Band, who's a little bit harder blues. And then at 3 o'clock, we have the Laurie Moore Band, another heavy blues rock artist. And then we mellow out a little bit for the closing set at 4:30 with Bill McGee Band from San Diego. So all these bands are really very popular bands, have reached several different levels of awards and have lots of acclamations. So it's a free event. We're asking people to refrain from alcohol, to refrain from smoking. We'll have canopies out there on a first-come, first-served basis. If people want to sit in the shade, we'll have plenty of food out there. We'll have barbecue. We'll have Mexican food. We'll have kettle corn. We'll have American food. And then we'll also have a smoothie truck out there serving iced coffee and things like that. And it's just going to be a really nice day where you can come out and enjoy all 4 bands, stay all day, or watch one band, go home, come back, watch another. Some people do that. But the new thing this year, to take the vehicles out of the neighborhood, so to speak, is we're running a free shuttle service. So we're going to use the transit service, special transit service. We'll run a shuttle every 15 minutes from City Hall here. We have lots of parking here at City Hall. We have City Hall West. We have the Community Center South. We have lots of curb parking around the school. Plenty of places to park here. As we know, parking is very tough at Jane Addams Park. So we'll go from City Hall to Jane Addams Park back and forth every 15 minutes. First shuttle will run at 11:30 starting from City Hall. We won't bring people back from the park until after the first set, but don't feel like you have to fight for parking on September 9th. We know that because the parking's so tough that we lose some people. And we're looking for our greatest attendance ever here. We usually get about 1,500 people based on our estimations. So if anybody has any questions, they can contact me at the Community Services Department. I'll be happy to talk to you. And finally, the car show will be back as well. So we have a a group of the South Bay locals, they call themselves, the 4 or 5 generation Lawndalians here that want to participate in the car show, and I think Dina mentioned them before. They're counting on bringing about 30 or 40 cars out here, really nice cars. So, blues, barbecue, and cars. I mean, what more do you want? So we hope to see everybody out there.
We might want more. That's good. I appreciate that.
Thank you,
Look
Mike.
at you. Trying to rhyme.
And Rhonda, I apologize. Today is my first day back from 2 weeks off, so you caught me off guard. I have to look up the dates on the cleanup week. The next one, the last one was in March, so I believe it's going to be September. I don't know if, Leah, do you know the exact dates of when it is?
I don't recall the exact dates. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I can find that information out, and I can,
So
at the next
cleanup
meeting.
week begins on the Monday is September 18th, and it goes through the 22nd. But I think they're actually starting the week on that Saturday or Friday before. 9/16, in fact, the dates it is listed is 9/16 to the 9/24, but I always am interested in the curbside pickup for those large bulky items, and that will happen from the 18th to the 22nd.
Right. For the entire week, we do bulk item pickup. People can put as much of their bulk items on their curbsides, and they'll be not charged for that, and they'll be picked up for free all week long. And that will continue this cleanup week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I only have one other thing, and it was a question a resident asked. And I didn't have an answer, and I haven't taken the time to call this week to ask the question. But if we are interested at all in these cameras for intersections, can that be used with ARPA money where it's a one-time money?
Staff's already looked into that. The ARPA monies can be used for the first initial, but there's ongoing fees that are annual. I don't believe you can use ARPA for that beyond the extended years.
But the initial, the large
Right.
amount, it could be on ARPA.
Yes,
But then
we
we
looked
would
at-
have to be paying year after year.
Yeah, there's like a cost fee annually. That's to keep the subscription up for the camera system.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
That's all. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
So I attended last Monday South Bay City's Council of Government Steering Committee. That committee mainly sets up the agenda for the Board of Directors, which is this Thursday. Nothing to report, except that there did come up, and I know a few residents, if our city manager could update with regards to Metro and the meeting, because there's been some back and forth regarding whether there's going to be a decision made.
Yeah, so there was some back and forth. Well, I attended that meeting a couple weeks ago, and we were told, and I know you heard from Jackie too, as well from the COG, that they weren't going to have the September meeting. I followed up because residents were getting mixed information. So we got an email back this last Thursday or Wednesday, and they said they're looking at September as well as an October date. But it wasn't firmed up yet, is what the email said. Yeah.
Because that was the same, originally, the director, Jackie Backtrack, she had said also that they were pushing it. So she had the same info from that meeting. So
Yes.
it's ongoing. And then I did attend last week the State of the City address for Hawthorne. It was well attended by local electeds, even some from other counties and residents, and they gave a good presentation on what's going on in Hawthorne, one of which I'd like to kind of see our city take a look at, which is movies in the parks. It might be a nice summer activity to put on for families to attend, and so I want to take a look and see if that's something we could look at budgeting for. I don't think it should be something fairly cost effective, but just nice to have something for people to go to. And with that, that's all I had. I'll pass it along.
Thank you. So I too attended the City of Hawthorne State of the City with Mayor Vargas giving the State of the City address. Very well attended, which brings me to an item. their State of the City address used to be conducted by the chamber up until maybe about, maybe 2 years ago. The city started, they started putting it on themselves outside of the chamber. Likewise, our chamber used to put on a State of the City, and we haven't had one in a while. I was hoping that the chamber would continue their State of the City address, because this is usually a functions of the chambers, and we kind of discussed this informally last year. But seeing that the chambers, I'm not sure if they are looking to do a State of the City. It's been a while, but I'm suggesting that we maybe next year, certainly not this year, it's too late this year in terms of the budget, considered allocating funds to do a State of the City presentation with the city, not necessarily waiting on the chamber to see if they're going to do it. I assume that they're not, because they haven't done one in a few years for whatever reason. So if we can move ahead and join it with the business community to do a State of the City address, I think that would be most appropriate, similar to what Hawthorne is doing. I joined Councilwoman Suarez on the movies in the park. We actually do movies in the park in the city of LA, where I work for one of the council districts, and they are hugely successful in terms of the number of families that come out for movies in the park. We just did one Friday, and I think we got 2 more to go before we wrap up the summer. And so in Hawthorne, they do a movie in the park. I've been to one that was years ago, but I think that's something that we should take a look at as well. I want to note not the present, but I want to note that the completion of Artesia Boulevard, the road repair on Artesia Boulevard. I was finally doing my bike run this weekend. I knew it had been completed, but I hadn't gotten the chance to actually ride the new and improved Artesia Boulevard, right? And so I just want to note that project was complete and the road is smooth on both sides, right? The Lawndale side as well as Torrance, right? That is Torrance, right? I was ever down the beach. That's
Yes,
Torrance.
Mayor, that's Torrance. That's the northern part of the boundary of Torrance.
Good job on that improvement. And one of the local residents want to note the improvement on her block. There was a street surfacing on 167th between Osage and Prairie. And she recognized the good work that the staff did, that the contractor did on her stretch, right there by the park, and it looks nice. So good job on that. I want to make mention that this weekend I'm joining with the Special Needs Network, also with the Jewish Community Foundation of Los Angeles and Assemblymember Tina McKenna to conduct the 18th annual Back to School Community Health Fair and Community Resource Fair this Saturday, August the 26th, at Jane Addams Park at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're going to have health and dental screening, professional haircuts, blood pressure, glucose testing, okay, live music. You're going to be able to win some prizes. There's going to be a petting zoo, back to school supplies, and much, much more, according to the flyer. And much, much more. So bring your kids out and your families out this Saturday, August the 26th at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Jane Addams Park, the Back to School Community Health and Resource Fair. You got a question on that?
No, I was just going to say, I know it's a little last minute, but perhaps they could have information on the Youth Advisory Committee, so that, if there's any kids interested on serving, they could get an application.
I think that's appropriate, but I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Say it again. For me.
Applications for the Youth Advisory Committee at the event.
Oh, okay, I got
That
you.
way
I
we
got
can
you.
advertise it.
So make applications available at this event for youth that's interested in serving on the Youth Advisory Committee. Okay. That is most appropriate. Thank you for that. And last, I would say, 2 more things. Can we look into having a document shredding event with Republic. The last time I spoke to them, which was some months ago, they had indicated that they can do a document shredding event for their cities. I'm not sure if that's with the contract or how does
I'll
that
check with
work?
Public Works, Mayor and Council,
Yeah.
and we'll get back to you on that, see if that's a possibility.
Okay, great.
Not a problem.
And the last thing I would say is, since we're back to school, I'm asking everyone to drive safely. Little ones are going back and forth to school and crossing the streets or what have you, and not so little ones as well. Got teenagers as well. And so if we could be mindful of our children as they go on back to school, that we can be careful as we don't want to have any accidents or what have you. And that's all I have under council reports. Let's see. We do have one other. We're going to continue this item,
Yes,
right?
Mr. Mayor. Staff is asking that the closed session just be continued to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay. Is there any objection? Okay. With that being the case, we will continue the item 15, public employees performance evaluation. Okay. With that, what time is it? With that, the regular scheduled meeting, the next regular scheduled meeting will be held on September 4th. Hold on, let me back up. That's why it reads that way. I was wondering why I was reading that way. It's going to be canceled. The meeting for September 4th is going to be canceled. The next regular scheduled meeting of the Lawndale City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, September the 18th. So the meeting for the 4th is canceled, but the next meeting will be September the 18th in these here chambers, right? Okay. It is now 8 o'clock, and we are adjourned.